alright, alright.
Today, i-discuss natin kung ano at kung anong meron sa quadratic function. So by the definition in the book, quadratic function is a second-degree function of the form y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are real numbers, and a is not equal to 0. So later on, i-discuss ko kung bakit ang a or ang value ng a ay hindi kailanman pwede maging 0. So lahat ng numbers na nasa left side ng x squared, yan ang tinatawag na coefficient. So sa pag-solve ng quadratic function, ito ay nasa-separate into two. The first is the general form, and the second is the standard form. Standard form or vertex form. So, huwag kayong mag-alala kasi isa-solve din natin to or i-discuss din natin sa separate video. Pero this day or this time, ang i-discuss lang natin ay yung general form na kung saan may form na y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Ito yung tinatawag na general form. Tandaan lang natin na itong term na to kung saan may exponent na 2 or mas kilala sa tinatawag natin na second degree term, yan ay tinatawag na quadratic term. At yung bx naman kung saan may understood na 1 sa upper right side or upper right corner ng x, yan naman ang tinatawag na linear term. Hindi na natin kailangan isulat yung exponent na 1 dahil it is understood. Kumbaga, hindi rin magbabago yung value ng x. Yung c naman ang tinatawag na constant term. Now, if quadratic function ax squared plus bx plus c involves numbers which are real numbers, ibig sabihin, yung coefficients na a, b, at ang constant term ay may corresponding values ng real numbers provided ng a is not equal to 0. That's the time na magkakaroon ng tinatawag nating quadratic equation. Because the function now contains numbers which are real numbers. So sa pag-solve ng quadratic equation, there are 4 different methods. So the first method is extracting square root, factoring, second method. The third method is completing the square, and the fourth one is the quadratic formula. So we will discuss kung ano yung pagkakaiba ng solutions ng apat na to. At aalamin natin kung which of them yung pinaka-efficient na gamitin natin sa pag-solve ng quadratic equation. Siguro magbibigay muna tayo ng sample ng isang quadratic equation, tapos isa-solve natin gamit yung apat na to. Okay, so now let us discuss the first method, which is extracting square root. So magbibigay muna tayo ng sample. F of x is equal to x squared minus 4. At para malaman natin kung ano ang value ng x, kailangan nating i-let ang f of x is equal to y is equal to 0. By the way, ang f of x, yan din ang y. It also symbolizes y. Pwede rin natin siyang i-rewrite na y is equal to x squared minus 4. So as I've said earlier, we will let y is equal to 0. So 0 is equal to x squared minus 4. Pwede rin nating pagpalitin yung terms sa left side and right side. So pwede nating i-rewrite it ng x squared minus 4 is equal to 0. Depende kung saan kayo mas convenient. So but for me, mas madali yung ganito. And since we have agreed ng f of x equals x squared minus 4 can also be written as x squared minus 4 equals 0, pwede na nating i-erase yung in-between para diretso na yung solution natin. Okay, so erase lang natin. Alright, so tapos na natin i-write. The equation now becomes x squared minus 4 equals 0. Now, ang ibang paliwanag dito or explanation, after rewriting the equation, add the constant to both sides with its opposite sign. So, yung equation ay magiging x squared minus 4, ikakopy lang. And then, yung constant term, which is yung number 4, ikakopy, i-add natin sa both side. Pero this time, ang kopya natin ay yung opposite sign ng constant. So that would be 4 equals 4. So in this case, cancelled na si 4 kasi negative 4 plus 4 equals 0. So kaya yung equation ay magiging x squared is equal to 4. Pero para mas mapadali, hindi na natin isusulat yung ganito. Didiretso na tayo sa x squared equals 4 dahil mas mabilis na paraan yung transposing. So again, i-erase natin. So another explanation is the transposing. So x squared, ito transpose natin yung negative 4 sa right side, so that would become positive 4. After transposing, ang susunod na step is to remove the second degree, yung number 2 na exponent. At para matanggal natin yung exponent na 2, kailangan nating maglagay ng radical sign to both sides. So, radical sign, radical sign. And in this case, naka-square root na si x squared at naka-square root na rin si 4. At ang square root ng x squared ay x only. Samantalang ang square root naman ng 4 ay 2, pero hindi mo natin ilalagay yung 2. Step by step muna tayo. Alright. So tandaan natin na once na naglagay tayo ng radical sign, automatic na merong plus or minus or positive and negative sign sa upper left corner ng radical sign. Bakit kaya? Dahil it indicates, plus or minus sign indicates na ang square root ng kahit anong number na nasa loob ng radical sign at in-square natin, ang sagot ay ang number na mismong nasa loob ng radical sign. So we will prove it later. So moving forward, x is equal to plus or minus square root of 4. At dahil sa plus or minus sign or positive, negative, magkakaroon din ng dalawang values ang x at papangalanan natin x1 and x2. At dito na natin ilalagay yung dalawang sign. It could be either positive or negative. And since alam natin ang square root ng 4, isusulat na natin directly. So, ibig sabihin, ang value ng x could either be positive, positive 2, or negative 2. So, let's prove kung bakit merong plus or minus sign sa labas ng radical sign. Going back to the equation, x squared minus 4 equals 0, then x squared equals positive 4 by transpose. At since nakuha natin ng x1 is positive 2, we will substitute positive 2 to x. So, 2 squared. Anyway, hindi na natin isulat yung positive sign. Okay, so 2 squared, 2 multiplied by itself, so that would be 4. Separate natin. X squared is equal to 4. Let's try to substitute the value of x2, that is negative 2. So negative 2 squared is still positive 4. So kung mapapansin natin, nung in-square natin ang square root ng number na nasa loob ng radical sign, yan din mismo yung lumabas na sagot. Kaya nagkaroon ng plus or minus sign. But when it comes to principle or theory of square root, any number na nasa loob ng square root, let's say n, the value of x, which is the square root of n, is the real numbers which is greater than or equal to 0. Meaning to say, x, which is the square root of n, could not be negative. So it is non-negative. Ibig sabihin, ang square root ng any positive number ay hindi pwedeng maging negative. Bagkus ito ay real numbers starting from 0 up to infinity or any positive numbers. At ang any positive square root number ay tinatawag natin na principal square root. Yan. Kaya kung mapapansin natin, pag tinatanong tayo ng teacher natin, what is the square root of 9? Sagot kaagad natin is positive 3. What is the square root of 4? 2. What is the square root of 25? 5. Wala pa naman sigurong teacher na nagtuturo sa kanyang estudyante na ang square root ng 9 is negative 3. It is always a positive number.
Alright, time's up. I hope you learn new ideas on this subject matter. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so we can share more educational videos. Always remember, the more learnings we'll get, the more knowledge we'll have. Thanks.